oyster, she decided to try life as a pearl for a while. And so that's what inspired this discussion. And I thought, well, isn't that interesting? It's living life as a pearl. How would I do that? I want to talk for a minute about pearls, just the essence of pearls. Anybody into gemstones and all their meaning and all that kind of stuff? There's so many things about a pearl, which I never knew. And you know, pearls aren't, I don't know about you, but pearls aren't as popular now. But in my mom's day, pearls were the big deal. And if you got pearls, you know, you were just the cat's meow because you were wearing your pearls. So I have my little pearl earrings on, but I had pearls, I didn't wear them today. They didn't go with this. So I said, yeah, pearls would go with that. But they went here, so there you go. But pearls, I want to just talk about a couple of the attributes about pearls because there's some interesting things. The history and the origin. The pearl in its natural and mystical softness is considered one of nature's oldest and most precious treasures. For millennia, this unique gem has been revered across cultures and civilizations to revere as purity, wealth, and wisdom. The history of pearls is rich and varied, reflecting their importance. The first discoveries of pearls were back in the millennium BC, and they were mainly used as ornaments or religious offerings. The ancient times, pearls were symbols of status and prestige, and the Romans in particular were great admirers of pearls and incorporated them into their jewelry, their crowns, and even their furniture. Pearls were highly valued, so highly valued by Julius Caesar, said to have enacted a law which allowed pearls to be worn by the ruling class only, keepers. Oriental cultures also attach great importance to pearls and symbolize them for purity and mortality. For emotional balance, pearls are thought to promote emotional balance and stability. They also are believed to help an individual cope with challenging emotions and to maintain a harmonious emotional state. Maybe that's why it's gifts, usually from the husband to the wife, to go, here, honey, this will help you with your emotional balance. I don't know. It also offers self-confidence, and pearls are associated with enhancing self-confidence and self-esteem. And the spiritual connection is that they're believed to facilitate a deeper connection with one's inner self and spirituality. So there's so many things involved in it. And you know, back in the day of Jesus, pearls were more precious than semi-precious stones. They were really considered, because they were not made in the earth, they were made in the sea. Now there's also freshwater pearls, but at the time, they were made in the sea and they were considered magical for a reason. So they were really revered. And I'm going to talk a little bit later because, you know, you've heard before of the thing, you can't get to heaven unless you go through the pearly gates. The reason they said pearly gates was because of the life lessons that pearls teach us. So I thought that was very interesting. You know, maybe back in my other modalities that I was raised in, it was more about hell and brimstone, but I like to think of it as, yes, you went through life's challenges wonderfully and graciously, and you were able to go through these challenges of pearly gates, okay? So pearls are unique among all the gemstones because they arise from the depths of the sea. Also, they require no special cutting or no special polishing. They come and go. Isn't that interesting? Gemstones, or I don't know if you've ever seen diamonds in real life, but they look like, you know, a piece of dirt or a piece of stone. And if you polish them, they become absolutely stunning. But pearls come out ready to go. Now, pearls, you know, are formed when some kind of an irritant, usually sand and sometimes bugs or whatever it is, something that bothers the oyster. But what happens, or the mollusk too, because they're formed in all kinds of mollusk things, is what happens is they writhe in pain. They can't stand when that thing is in their shell and they don't know what to do. So they produce this stuff called necra, and it's the same thing that they build their shell out of, and it's got pearlescence in it. They form it around the irritation to protect itself so it can go on functioning as who it is. Now think about that, the symbolism of that for a second. There's irritation, and it creates something around it to protect itself, and so that it can still go on and be its little oyster self. Okay, so that's very important. It's a protective mechanism, though. So think about when the irritation is created, they create the pearl as a protective mechanism. So they can be used to illustrate things when we're seeking value in our own life, can't we? When we're undergoing irritations, a lot of times we want to just make it go away. But sometimes when we take that irritation and we allow it to transform and we form it, a constant irritation. I don't know about you, but have you ever had an irritation in your life? Never. So if you think about those irritations and you shift into, okay, this is sent to me so that I can rise higher, so that I can look deeper in my soul and know different things about myself that I didn't even know I was capable of, and you turn the thing into a pearl, right? So they say that pearls are lustrous and they bring light. So they're bringing light, they reflect light as well. They amplify the light, and being luminous in quality to the air around them, the airness around them. So think about this for a second. I remember I was in a class, and there was a gal, I shall not name her, but I'm now friends with her, but at the time, she drove us all crazy. She was one of those people constantly annoying in the class, like, we'd be going on and on. It was taught by Dr. Richelieu, and so we were all, he never, you'd ask Dr. Frank, oh, could you repeat that? And he'd say, no, I spoke from my consciousness, I have no idea what I said. And a lot of times we didn't even record it, but he was just on the beam. So we were wrapped, like going, listening to every word he said, taking copious notes. And this gal would invariably, he would say a statement, oh, I've got a question. Oh, so that he'd answer that, he'd go on and then he'd be in that stream of consciousness. I've got another question. So by about the 10th question, we were all ready to send her to the moon, okay? So we were getting so annoyed with this gal. And I thought, man, what? And she was a doctor. So she came from, she was always trained to ask a lot of questions. So that's kind of where she came from. But at the time, we were all just so annoyed because we just wanted to be in the experience. So every time we'd see her, everybody would roll their eyes, and we'd go like, oh my God, here she comes in the class again. And I thought, well, you know what would happen if we blessed her? What would happen if we took her in? You know that poem, we drew a circle and took them in? What would happen if we blessed that gal and let her quit annoying us and just blessed her for what she was? Do you know what? She's absolutely adorable. And she's the neatest gal, and she does all kinds of cool things with her life. And I'm no longer irritated by her, and none of us are. But it was so funny. We were letting it get to us, and I thought, oh, she's our perfect lesson for the moment. Do you ever come into those experiences where people come into your life and you're like, oh man, but if you go, oh man, this is a perfect example of how I can tap into something greater than I am and make it work. Anybody ever feel like that? Where you get those experiences and you say, if everything's sent to me for good, how is for good? And believe me, I don't know about you, but if you have any experiences that are a challenge, irritation, and having to look at it and say, why is this happening for good? It's go fish, you can't figure it out. But guess what? The more you start to, the moment that you look at something and say, this is a gift, guess what? The gift reveals itself. It can't help but reveal itself because that's the energy flow that you've put into it. So the light reveals qualities. When we're saying the pearl is lustrous, we're just as lustrous. We're just as much that light. Each one of us is unique. Each pearl is unique. Each one of us is a different expression of God and shining their light in particular. Or some people aren't even shining their light and they don't even know. Or some people are irritated out of you and you can look at them and go, did you know that you're a pearl? And then that way you can kind of express, you're getting under my skin, right? You're getting under my skin. Know that you're a pearl. So there's that aspect of the pearl going, I can take that irritation and shift it, or you can live as a pearl as well. You can live as this lustrous light being that is formed out of something, that's wonderful, came for good, right? So pearls take something irritating and turn it into something good. It doesn't mean that we have to show up perfect. It just means we have to know our good. It just means we have to take our mind off and put our mind on God. There's that beautiful Emmett Fox little book, The Golden Key, and I think we have some in the bookstore. Really worth your investment to get that book. And anytime you're kind of having a trouble about something, just open those pages and he just gives you a spiritual slap on the side of the head. He really does. It's like, take your mind off the problem, put your mind on God. Because what happens when you do that? The energy shifts in your body. It cannot help but shift because, action, life flows where action energy goes, right? Wherever energy goes, that's where life is going to blossom. So if you're putting your energy in the negativity, that's where it's going to blossom because that's what you're feeding. So stop feeding that. Stop feeding that. When things in life are difficult, you don't have to make them look easy. We'll not always respond perfectly in situations when there's a pain or an irritation, but there's a grace to it. And you step out of the pain and you step into this place that says, I am willing to come from an inspired spot. I'm willing to be in grace with no matter what I'm encountering. Things will work out. They have to, because Spirit's leading the way, and Spirit only works for good. However, when we're experiencing something limiting, we can call on the presence of God and bring to our forefront, and it covers the irritation. So let's see here. The moment we decide to release whatever doesn't support our good, we are willing to accept that this new, even though we don't know what it's going to look like, the willingness to do that opens the door to things to happen. Have you ever noticed, I never said that thing, oh, it was a blessing in disguise? Did you ever hear that? It was a blessing in disguise. When something happened, we thought, wow, I never thought, did I already say this once before? I might have before, but I remember being in an icky relationship with a guy, and I was so head over heels of him, and we broke up. He decided we were going to break up, and I was like, oh my gosh. And my friend said to me, did you ever think that the answer to your prayer was that the guy broke up with you? Because you were asking for your perfect relationship, and obviously he wasn't. So the breakup was the perfect answer to your prayer. And I'm like, oh, shut up, Esther. You know how we get. It's like, oh, you know, and actually, we laughed. When I said, oh, shut up, we laughed. I'm like, you're right. You're absolutely right. And then you can move on. And then you can move on. The second you go, you know, this isn't, you know, square peg, round hole thing. Wasn't working. The symbolism of staying in harmony with life, of the pearl being irritation, is to stay in life. And when things are in irritation, you absolutely do whatever it is you need to do to heal that thing. It may be taking your mind off of it. It may be blessing it. It may be taking it out to lunch. It may be whatever it is. But to get yourself in harmony with the truth of who you are, and it gets you in that pattern, all of a sudden your energy shifts. When we willingly accept into our lives whatever expresses more affirmatively, our life begins to form anew. Did you notice that? The moment that you state a willingness to shift out of the way things are going, everything will shift. Take your mind off the problem and put your mind on God, because who we are is greater than where we are. You should write that in your mirror. Who we are is greater than where we are. And sometimes we let where we are determine. Oh, it's giving us a route to Denny's on my iPad. Was that my phone? Oh, okay, it was yours. Okay. All right, well, can we go to Denny's? Well, see, there you go. I like that. Who we are is greater than where we are. And then all of a sudden she got a route to Denny's. That's perfect. That is perfect. They have the best breakfast. They do. They have really good breakfast. But experiences, good, bad, or indifferent, are where we are at the moment, but they're not who we are. And sometimes we think that where we're at is who we are. And it's just what we're feeling at the moment. And our feelings come and go, don't they? Our feelings go. But who we are is a constant. We make the mistake that when we start to believe that we're our job or our relationship or our car or whatever it is, then we've lost our identity. And it's about going back and saying, who am I really? What did I come here to express? What's my modus operandi here? If you're experiencing a difficulty right now, whatever it is, the first thing to remember is that wonderful statement. It came to pass. It came to pass. Now, when I was a kid, and I used to hear the priest say, oh, and it came to pass, I always thought it meant that was the lead into the epistle or the gospel or something. No. It's a prediction. It came to pass. It didn't come to stay, but sometimes when we got in trouble, we sit it down, we make it a cup of tea, and we decide we're going to camp out here for a while. And what happens is the quicker we let things go, those irritations, the quicker we let them go and say, not a word of truth in that, I'm going to stay in this constant thought of being surrounded by this power of this love and being guided by this eternal energy that only wants my highest good. Guess what? Where you're at that moment will disappear. Or you'll get ideas of how to deal with it better and more effectively. In our true nature, we are the magnificence of spirit. We are expressing that magnificence of spirit. Most people see the world. Most people think they see the world as it is, but we really see the world as how we are. That was written by Glenn Van Ecklin. And it's most people think they see the world as it is, but they see the world as they are. And think about that for a second. Are you seeing the world as you are? Especially if you watch the news right now. And I've had or witnessed some heated discussions over things that are going on right now. And it's like, are we going to see the world as we are? Or are we going to see the world through this understanding thing of, guess what, we're all in this together. And we're all working together, and we're all unified together, and we're all working to a common goal of good and life. So religious science tells us how we interpret our experiences will determine our next experiences, isn't it? If we see things as being difficult, guess what? The next thing is going to be difficult because we see that as being difficult. If we say, you know what? That is just a piece of cake. That is going to be so easy for me to deal with. There's not a word of truth in anything that's holding on. That's the energy that we've sent out there. So we have to know that what are we stating in our life, what we're sending out there, what we are being in the world is actually going to produce more good or not. It may not look good through difficulty. You may not in the moment be experiencing the best life you want to experience. But guess what? How does something good come about when you're not experiencing something good? It's not by dwelling on what's not working. It's by dwelling on only good's coming out of this. I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm open to it. I'm receptive to it. I am looking for it. Everywhere you go, you're going to magnetize the goodness that you're putting out there because of that vibrational energy that you're putting out there. So you check in with your energy in the morning and say, where am I right now? This morning when my clock went off at like 20 after 5, I'm like, are you kidding? Is it really time to get up? I was like, I'm gonna lay here just another little minute more, right? And I said, no. You're going to get up, you're going to get your meditation tape going, and you're going to do your thing. And what happens is, it sets the tone for the day. And all of a sudden, you're ready with vim and vigor to go out there and get the day going, right? There's a beautiful book, and it's called You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought. Have you ever seen that book? It is so wonderful. And it says, you know what? Sometimes wallowing in the negative can feel real juicy, and you feel really comfortable, and yeah, I oughta, and you're ready to get this thing. But guess what? You cannot afford the luxury of a negative thought. Why? Because it pulls your energy down. You don't want to do that. That's not where we're going here. If you want a life that's fulfilling and life-affirming and joyous, you've got to get in that mode of everything's working out for good. When we come from deep down knowing and trust that all of life is for us, despite what's going on, things will shift. And how do I know that? Because we're made of spirit. We've put our power, our idea, our consciousness, our energy into the thought that spirit will help grow. So, let's see here. The truth is, we can't become any more perfect than we already are. Just breathe into that for a moment. We can't be any more perfect than we already are. Doesn't mean we don't have stuff going on, but we can't be any, we were already created perfect, whole, and complete. We're spirit. We're created of that spirit. Now, next time you look in the mirror, look at yourself and say, I am perfect, whole, and complete, and see what happens. If you go, fat chance, what's going to happen? You're going to throw it right out the window. But if you sit, look yourself in the eye, like Louise Hay always says, I love you. I really love you. And you look at yourself in the eye, in the face, and you say it. My friend said, yeah, well, try it doing it naked. I'm like, well, not everybody's gotten to that. But guess what? You can do it. And when you do, there's something that connects in your psyche with that. And the moment you come from that place, everything begins to shift. And people go, well, how do I do that? How do I shift up? It's as simple as that. That's where you start. You start with letting go and letting God. Just stay in the moment. You take your mind off that problem and you put your mind on God. You put your mind on your God qualities. Mind on the God quality of that person that's irritating the daylights out of you, or a situation that's irritating the daylights out of you, and things will shift. Life's irritations become a vehicle that bring us in touch with our inner and our perfection. So maybe the next time somebody irritates you or something irritates you, go, oh, You were sent here to remind me of how perfect and beautiful and whole I am. Thank you, right? And you can say, you're just a little pearl. And the moment you do that, shift the energy. It sounds funny, but it's absolutely true. So let's acknowledge that life is already for us. And again, may the fourth be with you. And so.
Thank you, Reverend.
And now we have our Cecilia again.